Hey everyone, so this video is actually for people that are high performers or on the way to become a high performer and or working with high performers, and what are the expectations. So, for all of us, we always have those distractions, and at the end of the day, it's the time, the energy, and the effort that we're looking at of where do we put our focus, where do we put our time. I know that's always the case for me, is trying to figure out, I've got so many ideas bounced around in my head, and I'm sure you're the same way, where you have so many ideas or so many things that you keep hearing from other people, other coaches or other mentors, and you're like, oh, that's a great idea, I want to go try that out, I want to go do this new opportunity. And before we know it, we get stuck, meaning we have so much going on in our head, it's a little chaotic, right? And so just want to give you some steps of pathways that's really helped a lot with myself, but also certain clients that I've worked with that are working at higher levels. And so when you look at it, it's going through a few different things. And the first one is going to be kind of to step back and say, what is your expectation? For me, it's always, what standard do I want to set? How much time do I want to put into it? How much energy, how much effort, where's it that I'm going? At what level do I want to work with a certain client, to how much I want to put into it. And this may be different for all of us, as we've all had different experiences, we live in different areas, but at the end of the day, we have to have that certain starting point. And when we set that, our expectation, we kind of set that standard, we set at least a goal, we have at least a place to work from. And so we want to get clear with that. Number two is going to be examination. What do we have in front of us? What are whether the opportunities, maybe the tools, maybe the people, the resources, the skills, the relationships that can help us get there. We're always going to be climbing that ladder where things, they're going to seem a little bit muddy, but it's going to get easier over time the more we work at it. So we want to get clear too on what is it actually, do we have a realistic idea of moving forward? I know we're all thought leaders, or maybe just have these big ideas. And I know for myself, for sure, we always kind of see past some of this stuff, which is good sometimes, because we don't want to get stuck saying that we can't do it if we don't have the resources. But sometimes it is good to kind of set that baseline and say, hey, this is what I have to work with, and let's go to work from there. So number three is going to be exploration. Now that we kind of have a general idea of how much effort from our expectation that we want to put into it, we examined what the possibilities were as far as what we have in front of us. We're going to go explore. We're going to go, I know, for example, I'll just give you an example. When I first, this is a while back, started working out in the gym and just learning to exercise, it was something I was like, I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm going to hit it hard every day. And I actually overdid it to the point where I had injuries, to the point where, I actually had knee surgery. So it was not the best approach. I wouldn't say always do that way. But here's the thing, is anything in life, we have to go in the expectation that the new normal is going to say we're going to fail, because that's how we learn, is to not be good at it, to know, hey, that's either that worked or it didn't work. But then the real reason is to see what we like and what we don't like, because that's going to help you get more clear on where you want to put your focus. And I know sometimes it's easy, and I'm just taking myself again, for example, kind of sitting back and all these opportunities or all these things keep coming up. And I'm like, wow, I could be going doing this, and I got to go work on this, and I got to go work on this. But along the way, we kind of get stuck and we get stagnant, and then we stop and we don't do anything. So then it's saying, my next step is going to be jump into these activities, see what I like, see what I don't like, see what's working, what's not working, and then that's going to help pave the path, the road to move on and make things a lot more clear. So again, set that expectation, examine what you have, and explore. Now from there, you're going to have four different options. Either one, you go do it yourself, which I always highly encourage, because that's the way we always learn, is by doing it ourselves. We're going to find, again, what we like, what we're good at, what we're not good at. But then we also find out a lot what we don't like, right? Who can we outsource this to, or who can get us to help us with this? And that's getting a lot of clarity on ourselves, because a lot of times in our head, we think it sounds like a great idea, but until we actually go and do it, and we're like, realistically, that wasn't great, right? So that was do it yourself. Number two is you go out and you find someone to help you, meaning, you have someone going in there and helping you through the process. Because it's one of those that sometimes maybe we get a little stuck. We're like, okay, I can do some of this myself, but I'm still getting stuck. It's taking too long. And at the end of the day, we all look for time, right? So that's always a great option too, because we always need that collaboration for someone else's strengths and or their mentor to come in and jump in there with us. Number three is you master it, meaning you all of a sudden you're to that point where you've got this down. Maybe you have that to the point where you don't need someone else, and you're clear on what you're doing, and you're on to the next goal. You're on to those other things that we were getting distracted with before, because we're like, we didn't have too much time with that before. We didn't really fit into our program or our pathway that what we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve. All of a sudden we've mastered that other area, and we're moving on to bigger and better things, right? And then the last option, which I do not recommend doing, is quitting. And that is giving up and saying, you know what, I'm just not gonna do anything because nothing's working. I give up because it's just not nothing's becoming clear. Well, here's the thing is when you give up, then nothing ever happens, right? You never get the result you want. So you've got to take one of those first three. Either go out, do it yourself, knowing there's going to be failures. Number two, find someone to work with, find a coach, a mentor, someone who can at least give you some advice along the way. Obviously, having paid mentors is better because you're going to get more specific advice and more detailed that is congruent with you. But you do also, you can use those valued mentors that give you the free advice, because you have to have a little bit of both from them. And then the third is going to be, again, you become that master at the position that you're doing. So going back to the very first of this, and really how to master the pathway to high performance is, one, you're going to set that expectation of yourself, of your clients. What's the end result? What's the payoff? Where are you trying to go with this? Number two, you're going to examine the possibilities. You're going to examine what you have around you, and you're going to have a better idea of what you can work with, to the third point where you go to start to explore. And you start to explore these new options, you start to explore possibilities, and you set the tone, and then you have a better outcome, a better outlook to go out there and do the job and actually become that high performer. So hopefully those tips helped. I know it's one of those things that always helps me to kind of go through it even myself and try to get more clarity on where I should put my focus, my effort, and my time.